Have you ever thought about it, like really thought about it for a second, how people have been creating art, well, forever,
Yeah,
for millennia? All around the world, people felt this drive to create, to like bring something into existence that just wasn't there before.
totally.
And from those first, markings on a cave wall to what we see today in museums and galleries, art just has this, I don't know, it's like a power to connect us.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. It's like this through line.
Through time, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what we're diving into with you today. We've gathered a really, I think, interesting set of sources for this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to like really extract, I think, the key insights, the stuff that will help you understand it all.
That sounds great. And what kind of sources are we talking about here?
We've got, let's see, some super engaging YouTube explorations of art history, which are always fun.
They're always a good starting point.
They are really detailed museum articles.
Oh, cool.
And then some really insightful excerpts from like humanities texts.
Okay, so we're going deep.
Yeah, we're going really deep. So it's a really good blend of perspectives.
So it's not just one person's take on all this.
No.
That's good.
So, our listener, if you're looking to truly understand how art has evolved, like from the very beginning, prehistoric times, all the way through to the Renaissance.
Wow, that's a huge chunk of time.
It is. But we're going to do it. You're going to grasp the big trends, the key developments, all without getting lost in the weeds.
That's what I always worry about. Like, I want to learn, but then I get bogged down.
I know. It's so easy to do. So today we're going to pinpoint those, like, what are those aha moments? Those key insights into how art reflects and shapes the human experience.
So get ready for some genuinely surprising discoveries along the way.
Okay, so let's just start right at the beginning.
Okay.
Prehistoric art.
Right. Which, the term prehistoric, it's really fundamental here, isn't it?
It is.
It just refers to that period before written language.
Well, so simple, but yeah, it's fundamental.
It is. And of course, like, no writing doesn't mean that it's not, like, significant or sophisticated.
Right, of course not.
Like, we just, have to understand the history through different means.
Right.
And art is a great way to do that.
It's one of the best.
And when we say prehistoric art, I think most people immediately jump to cave paintings, don't they?
Oh, absolutely.
The images, they're just burned in our collective consciousness.
They are. And it's just astonishing to consider, like, these early humans, tens of thousands of years ago, they were, like, essentially inventing art as we understand it today.
It's mind-blowing.
Isn't it? Like, they're figuring out how to, create pigments using binders and materials like, charcoal, which is literally the residue from their fires.
Right.
And minerals from the earth. That's the basis of artistic materials that, we still use.
And what's really remarkable is that even in these, like, really earliest expressions, you see this level of sophistication.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Take this Chauvet cave in France, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
It was sealed for, like, over 36,000 years. And so it preserved this just incredible number of drawings.
Wow.
And you know what makes Chauvet particularly unique? The artists actually, like, prepared the walls.
They did.
Yeah, before they started painting. Like, scraped or cleansed the surface.
Oh, so it would stick better.
Exactly.
Mm.
It ensures better adhesion. And that's like a deliberate artistic choice.
Oh, wow.
Like, it's forethought, it's intention,
And the images are they're breathtaking.
Yeah.
And they're not just like random animals on the wall, right? Like they interact with each other.
They do.
Like those, powerful lions. And it really makes you wonder about the purpose behind it.
Right, like, what were they trying to say?
Yeah, exactly. Was it religious? Was it like their form of artistic expression? Were they telling stories about their lives, like conveying something about the world around them? It's a direct connection to the minds of people who lived in the Stone Age using basic tools.
Like hammerstones and hand axes.
Yeah, it's incredible. And this level of intentionality, like you said, and the interacting animals suggest a complex understanding of their world and like a nascent form of narrative.
Yeah, it's indicating significant leap, wouldn't you say, in human cognitive abilities.
Absolutely.
They're not just reacting to the environment anymore.
No.
They're processing it, they're representing it, they're sharing it.
And that's huge.
It is huge. These cave paintings are a fascinating glimpse into, like, what was going on in their minds.
Right.
And the fact that they invested, so much time and effort to create these images implies a level of like symbolic thought and communication that's just, I mean, it's powerful.
It's incredibly
A
powerful.
testament to this enduring human desire to create meaning and to express themselves.
Absolutely. So from those early, expressions, we move into the Neolithic period?
Right, after the invention of agriculture
Yeah,
and the development of, well, settled communities.
which is a huge change.
It is. It's this major shift
Hmm.
that had a profound impact on art, wouldn't you say?
I would say so. Absolutely.
Because with settled life, right,
Right.
you have these new social structures,
Yeah.
belief systems, ideologies, and art becomes like a way to reflect and reinforce those.
To show off a bit, maybe.
Yeah. And as we transition into the era of early civilizations, you're going to see art taking on like a much broader range of functions.
So this shift from nomadic, right, hunter-gatherers
Right.
to settled agricultural life, it fundamentally reshaped not just how people lived, but what they chose to depict and why.
Precisely.
Okay, so let's look at some specific examples.
Okay.
Mesopotamia, particularly Sumer.
Okay.
What are some of the key characteristics of their art?
Well, given their environment, right, they didn't have a lot of forests
Right,
or natural stone.
right.
So they used mud brick, like a lot.
Okay.
So, their monumental architecture, like the ziggurats,
Right.
those massive stepped pyramids, those were essentially made of sun-dried earth.
Wow.
Yeah, but they also left behind these smaller, really evocative objects.
Okay.
Like the votive statues they discovered at Tel Asmar.
Oh, yes. Those worshiper figures. The ones with the clasped hands and those wide staring eyes.
Yeah.
What's the prevailing interpretation of those? What were they for?
Most people think these statues, they found them buried beneath temple floors,
Oh.
served as stand-ins for elite individuals.
Okay.
So by placing their likeness, before a deity, it was ensuring continuous prayer or devotion.
Okay.
It's a fascinating, it's an insight into their religious practices.
It really is.
And we can't forget about, cylinder seals.
Oh, yeah.
These small, really intricately carved, cylindrical objects
Right.
that functioned as an ancient signature.
Right. They would roll it on the clay.
Right, to authenticate documents or ownership.
Okay. So moving a bit southwest,
Okay.
we get to ancient Egypt.
Right, one of the big ones.
Oh, yeah. And a civilization that is famously and fundamentally linked to the Nile.
Well, the Nile was, without a doubt, the lifeblood of Egypt.
Yeah.
And its annual flooding, it was so predictable. It provided this incredibly fertile soil. And one of the sources pointed out that this, basically eliminated the need for, a crop rotation or fertilizer.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, their soil was that good.
Wow.
Yeah. And the stability, this inherent stability, it freed up time and resources for the Egyptians to develop this incredibly enduring culture
Right.
and their distinctive art.
Of course, their art is so recognizable.
It is. And we see the early unification of Upper and Lower Egypt around 3500 BCE as this pivotal moment.
So that's when it all started coming together.
Yeah, in the formation of this really powerful kingdom.
And then we have the pyramids, of course. I mean, come on.
Hmm.
And the step pyramid of Djoser is frequently highlighted as really a crucial development.
It is. It was constructed around 2611 BCE.
Yep.
It signifies a major transition
Okay.
from the earlier mastabas. So those are the rectangular flat-roof tombs,
Right.
initially made of mud brick,
Okay.
to the first large-scale structure made entirely of stone.
Wow.
Yeah, and it began as a single mastaba,
Mhm.
but, under this visionary architect Imhotep, it evolved into this impressive, six-tiered pyramid.
Wow. 6 tiers.
Yeah, it was just groundbreaking.
It must have been.
Yeah, in terms of engineering and architectural design.
Right.
And it marked the first, significant use of stone.
Right. Which is much more durable.
Way more durable in a major building project.
Yeah.
And it, laid the foundation for all that monumental pyramid construction that came after.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah. It's staggering to think about the engineering that went into this, especially because, no wheels, no steel tools at that point. They're working with copper and copper alloys.
Right?
And the sheer volume of stone, millions of tons,
Billion.
moved and positioned with such precision.
Exactly. And the, precise methods of construction, they're still debated.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, but some sources suggest that they, would wet the sand to help move those huge stone blocks.
On sleds.
Yeah, on sleds.
Yeah.
And abrasive materials, like sand, in conjunction with copper saws to cut the stone. And probably ramps, maybe spiraling around the pyramid.
Oh, as it grew.
Yeah.
That's smart.
And levers to lift the stones into place.
Okay, so picture this. It wasn't this, like, muted gray we see today.
No, no.
Originally, it was covered in this gleaming white limestone.
Yeah, can you imagine?
And the very top.
Maybe capped with electrum.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is an alloy of gold and silver.
Yeah.
I mean, blinding.
I mean, you couldn't even look at it, right?
No.
And these pyramids were, of course, tombs, right? Deeply connected to their, like, whole fascination with the afterlife.
Yeah.
With Ka and Ba.
The different aspects of the soul.
Right.
And the preservation of the body through mummification.
The inclusion of Ka statues. This was, like, integral to ensure a successful transition to the afterlife.
So not just for the elite, right?
Right. This was for a wider segment of society than in some other cultures.
Interesting.
It was this universality of the afterlife belief in Egypt.
It's really a key distinction.
It is.
And that's reflected in what's called the Egyptian canon, right?
Right. The strict set of rules governing how the body was represented.
Like their art style.
Yeah, the profile head, the forward-facing, the frontal chest,
Right.
profile limbs.
It looks so unusual to us now.
It does.
But it was a deliberate choice to, like, present the most important aspects clearly and completely.
Right, so the deceased is fully represented
Okay.
in the afterlife.
Okay, let's turn our attention eastward
Okay.
to the Indus Valley Civilization, also known as the Harappan Civilization.
Right.
What were, like, their defining characteristics artistically?
Well, the Indus Valley Civilization was flourishing in what's now Pakistan, around the same time as the Old Kingdom in Egypt.
Okay.
And it was remarkable for its urban planning.
Oh,
Yeah, they had standardized weights and measures.
really?
Cities with, like, uniform, precisely made bricks.
Oh, wow.
And intricate water management systems.
Okay, so they were very organized.
Yeah, very. And while their writing system, we haven't deciphered it yet.
Oh, wow.
But the high degree of standardization across settlements suggests a very organized society
Okay.
with extensive trade networks.
Really?
Yeah, stretching as far as Mesopotamia
Wow.
and possibly even China.
That's amazing.
It is. And one symbol, one intriguing symbol that's, now historically complex,
Yeah.
is the swastika, frequently found at their sites.
Right, of course.
And beyond the swastika, I mean, they also produced beautiful small seals, often made of steatite, depicting animals like, the humped bull.
Okay.
And they also produced terracotta figurines, although they vary in style and sophistication.
Okay, so that's the Indus Valley. Now let's move over to China. Specifically the Longshan culture.
Along the Yellow River,
Yeah.
the Longshan culture, also a Neolithic society, was known for its, agricultural productivity.
Okay.
They cultivated millet and rice,
Okay.
and they were really known for their pottery techniques.
Really?
Yeah.
What was so special about their pottery?
They utilized the potter's wheel and kilns
Oh, wow.
to produce pottery on a significant scale. Like, they achieved a real level of skill.
So they must have had a lot of pottery.
Yeah, and uniformity in their vessels.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and then in Japan, the Jomon period, their pottery is, like, it's so visually striking.
It is. The Jomon people were creating clay vethers very early on. I mean, some of them date back to, like, 10,000 BCE.
Wow, that's so early.
Well, it's very early.
So what does Jomon even mean?
So Jomon refers to the cord markings they made
Oh,
by pressing, like, coiled rope or cord into the wet clay.
oh, that's how they get those patterns.
Exactly.
That's beautiful. So it was practical, I'm assuming.
Yeah, for coating and storage.
Right.
But it definitely also had this decorative aspect. Like, there was an early artistic impulse.
Yeah, for sure.
And they began with simple coil-built pots and then later developed a variety of shapes, often with flat bottoms, rounded sides, sometimes adorned with really elaborate additions.
Cool. So let's not overlook the Asian region
Okay.
and the frescoes that have been discovered at Akrotiri.
Right, on the island of Thera.
Yeah.
The frescoes unearthed at Akrotiri are truly exceptional.
What makes them so special?
Well, first of all, they were, like, remarkably preserved by the volcanic eruption that buried this city.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they offer us a really vivid glimpse into this, like, vibrant culture
Okay.
that engaged in trade with, the Mycenaean civilization.
Okay, on the Greek mainland.
Yeah. And unlike, I don't know, maybe more typical, like, mythological or religious scenes that you find in other ancient cultures, the Akrotiri frescoes frequently depict scenes from nature.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Lilies, swallows, even boxing boys.
Wow.
And the fresco technique itself, painting on wet plaster, was employed.
Right.
But the acrotery artists, they appear to have continued painting even when the plaster started to dry,
Oh.
which is interesting.
It is.
And the famous spring fresco, you know that one?
Yeah.
With that abstracted landscape and the intense, almost dreamlike colors.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
But unusual, right?
Very.
Very at the time.
Yeah. And it has this whimsical quality, I think, to our modern eyes. But the meaning and purpose is still debated by scholars.
Oh, of course. Okay, we've taken quite a journey.
We have.
Through prehistory and these early civilizations. Now let's go to ancient Greece.
Okay.
To what's considered its golden age.
The classical period of ancient Greece, which generally spans from around 480 to 323 BCE, was a time of, incredible cultural and intellectual blossoming.
Oh,
yeah. And in art, the focus shifted towards capturing this sense of, dynamic vitality, enduring permanence, clarity, and harmonious proportion.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is.
Yeah.
And the Parthenon in Athens, a temple dedicated to Athena, stands as this powerful, enduring symbol of this era and of the city's power.
Right.
And inside stood the, colossal statue of Athena.
Made by Phidias.
Yes, Phidias.
Yeah.
And in terms of depicting the human form, the Greeks made truly significant advancements.
They did, especially with their pottery, right.
Particularly in, vase painting with the development of the red figure technique.
Oh, yeah.
This method allowed for greater, detail.
In portraying the body.
Yeah.
Both draped and nude.
Both.
Okay.
In a wide range of, poses and actions, really bringing narrative scenes to life.
Okay.
And then in sculpture, we encounter, these iconic works like the Aphrodite of Knidos.
By Praxiteles?
Yeah.
Daringly nude.
Breaking conventions at the time.
Yeah.
And the instantly recognizable Discobolus, the discus thrower.
Yeah.
Which has become such an enduring symbol of the Olympics.
It has.
It perfectly captures that, tension and movement.
Right.
And it's interesting to note that there are actually, different versions.
There are.
The Lancelotti and the Townley versions.
Okay.
And they actually depict him looking in different directions.
Really?
But it's still universally recognized
Yeah.
as a symbol of the Olympics.
So interesting. Okay, so from the idealized forms of Greece, we move to ancient Rome.
Yeah. Known for their more pragmatic, commemorative approach to art.
Right.
So Roman public art largely served the purpose of, commemorating important individuals or events.
Okay.
So during the Republic, we see the emergence of these veristic portraits.
Veristic.
Yeah, really emphasizing their age and experience.
Okay.
Gravitas.
Of the leaders.
Yes, political and military leaders. And under the empire, portraits of emperors and even ancestors became commonplace.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And while Roman art was, significantly influenced by the Greeks,
Right.
with tons of copies and adaptations of Greek sculptures, the Romans also developed their own distinct style.
Okay, like what?
Especially in commemorative reliefs found on arches,
Right.
like the Arch of Titus,
Right.
and columns,
Right.
like Trajan's column, which essentially functioned as these visual narratives of Roman victories and accomplishments.
Okay.
And even their coinage became this important medium for spreading imperial portraits and imagery.
Okay, so our journey takes us eastward now to Byzantium,
The New Rome, right?
established by Constantine. And this was a long and influential period.
It was. Byzantium, founded in 330 AD, they renamed, Byzantium to Constantinople.
Right.
It served as this cultural and political link between the classical world and the developing medieval West.
Okay.
And it endured for over 1,000 years.
Wow.
Yeah, as a Christian, predominantly Greek-speaking continuation of the Roman Empire in the East.
Okay, so how do we break down, the art of Byzantium?
Well, we can divide it into early, middle, and late Byzantine periods,
Okay.
each with their own characteristics.
So early Byzantium, what did that look like?
Well, they were building these magnificent domed churches,
Okay.
the most famous, of course, being Hagia Sophia.
Right.
And they gradually shifted from scrolls to the codex for books, which was more practical.
Okay.
But this period was also marked by the iconoclastic controversy,
Oh,
a
right.
huge religious and political dispute.
Right, where they destroyed icons?
Yes.
Religious images?
Yeah.
Wow.
And in the Middle Byzantine period, we see art and architecture flourish.
Okay.
With more wealth and imperial patronage, we see these amazing illuminated manuscripts,
Right.
intricate cloisonné enamel,
Okay.
and detailed stone and ivory sculptures.
Right.
And the cross and square plan became super
Or
popular.
churches.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the cross and square plan?
So it's characterized by a central dome supported by 4 equal arms.
Okay.
So you get this harmonious and centralized space.
Okay.
And mosaics and frescoes adorned the interiors.
Right.
And they got, like, really sophisticated, you know?
Yeah.
They used the curved surfaces to create these dramatic effects.
Oh, wow.
And icons, which are considered to have spiritual power, also gained prominence.
Okay.
And they were displayed on the templon.
The what?
The templon.
Yeah.
The screen separating the sanctuary from the main body of the church.
Oh, okay.
And monastic communities like those on Mount Athos really enriched the artistic landscape.
Okay.
And then we have the Latin occupation.
Which must have been a big disruption.
It was. So the invasion and sacking of Constantinople during the Fourth Crusade in 1204
Right.
and the establishment of the Latin Empire, that represented a major disruption.
Right.
It led to political fragmentation, the displacement of people, and artistic resources.
No.
But even during this time, and in the subsequent late Byzantine period, art and architecture continued.
They found a way.
They did, sometimes blending Byzantine and Western European styles.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So while the empire's political power was reduced, its religious and cultural influence remained strong.
They still had that.
They did. And we see, like, repairs and embellishments to Hagia Sophia
Okay.
and continued patronage within monasteries,
Okay.
like the Chora Monastery
Oh, yeah.
with its mosaics and frescoes,
Yeah.
and the use of more economical materials like miniature mosaic icons became more prevalent.
So they were adapting.
Yeah, exactly. They had to make do.
Okay, so our journey finally brings us to the Renaissance.
The Renaissance, which originated in Italy, with Florence as its center, was a transformative period.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it drew inspiration from classical antiquity, but it wasn't just imitation.
Okay.
Medieval traditions still existed alongside this new interest.
Okay.
A defining characteristic of the Renaissance was humanism. This philosophical movement that emphasized human dignity and potential.
Right.
And the study of, like, classical literature and philosophy.
Right.
And this really influenced art.
Okay.
We see this increased focus on realistic detail, the celebration of the human form, and the exploration of individual emotions.
Yeah.
In the work of, like, Botticelli and Michelangelo.
Right.
And wealthy families like the Medici in Florence and civic governments, they funded these endeavors.
Yeah, they were big patrons of the arts.
Yeah.
So this focus on humanism, it led artists to, like, celebrate the human form and experience in a way that was really different from the Middle Ages.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's fascinating to think about, like, those classical statues, the ones that Renaissance artists were looking at,
Right.
that they weren't actually the stark white marble we imagine.
No, not at all.
They were painted.
Yeah, in vibrant, often contrasting colors.
It's kind of ironic, isn't it?
It is.
That the unpainted aesthetic has become the ideal, even though we know it wasn't like that.
Yeah. And the Renaissance produced giants like Leonardo da Vinci.
Right, of course.
His Mona Lisa is perhaps the most famous artwork in the world.
It is, and endlessly fascinating.
Yeah. And recent investigations have delved into the identities of the people involved.
Like who?
Francesco del Giocondo, his wife, Lisa Gherardini, believed to be the sitter, and even Leonardo's mother, Caterina.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, whose story has been pieced together through archival research.
That's amazing what they can find out now.
It is.
And there's that annotation by Agostino Vespucci
Right?
that mentions Leonardo's habit of leaving paintings incohaten,
Meaning unfinished.
unfinished.
Yeah.
And he links this to the Mona Lisa.
Yeah, which is so interesting.
It is. So maybe she was never finished.
Who knows?
And then, of course, we have Raphael
Oh, yeah.
with his School of Athens fresco.
Right, in the Vatican.
Yeah.
A powerful representation of philosophy and thought, bringing together, Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, and others.
Yeah. Okay, so, wow, we've traversed this incredible span of time.
We have.
Those prehistoric caves to the Renaissance.
Yeah.
And it just shows that art is so much more than just, pretty pictures.
Right. It's a reflection of, like, what it means to be human.
Exactly. Our beliefs, our technology, our societies,
Across all these cultures.
and throughout history.
Exactly. Understanding art gives us, like, invaluable insights into the past.
Absolutely.
And it can really inform how we perceive the present.
And even the future.
Right.
So here's something to think about. How does the art being created today reflect our current values and beliefs?
That is a really good question.
Right, like what will future generations learn about us through the art we are producing?
It's fascinating to consider.
It is. So we encourage you to continue exploring art history and to just think about everything we've talked about today.
Yeah, there's always more to learn and
Absolutely.
appreciate.
Yeah. In the world of art.
It never gets old, host speaker.